A Sunday afternoon Big Ten soccer showdown here on Big Ten Plus. Hello, everybody. Welcome inside to Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium, Columbus, Ohio, the site for this battle. Ohio State, the 22nd ranked Buckeyes, taking on Indiana, coming into Columbus today for what should be a tantalizing matchup. Andrew Conover alongside Caleb Spinner. We are going to get you the starting lineups here momentarily as the teams and referees take the field and we get ready to go today. Coach Brian Mazanov and the Scarlet and Gray getting set here as we take a look at their starting lineup. It's the goalkeeper Max Trejo in for Keegan McLaughlin today. The four-man defensive line is Owen Sullivan, the captain, Nathan Demian, Thomas Gile, and Dalen Velios. Lawrence Wooten, the captain from England, mans the midfield with Anthony Samways, who's the team leader in assists currently, Caleb. Parker Grinstead, Xavier Green, and Marko Borkovic. And the lone forward for the Buckeyes today is going to be the redshirt senior Devin Etling. So that is how the Buckeyes shape up. Taking a look at the other side of the field. And Coach Todd Yeagley and Indiana. JT Harms will be in the net. Again, a four-man defense on the other side of the field, opposite of the Scarlet and Gray. We see Joey Mayer, Lawson Redmond, Nick Sessick, and Brett Beebe manning the back line for the Hoosiers. Quentin Helmer, Malu Gumbawale, Patrick McDonald, Nate Ward, Tommy Mahalik, and Sam Sarver round out the starting 11 for Indiana. Caleb, your initial thoughts heading into today's contest. First game of Big Ten play for both sides.
First game of Big Ten play, and you cannot ask for a better matchup, number 22 against number 15. This is going to be an exciting start to the seasons. Of course, the non-conference schedule was amazing as well for both of these squads. Several entertainers through that first stretch of the season. But now this is when it really gets exciting, when you start to look at postseason standings, when you look at these conference games, the ones that see each other each and every year. This is going to be a good start. At least that's how it appears on paper. We'll see what happens.
Players taking a kneel for social justice to start this match as we are about to get set here on a sunny Sunday in Columbus.
Certainly living up to the day of the week with the sun right now.
Absolutely. Underway are the Buckeyes wearing their striped white uniforms. Indiana on the right side of your screen wearing the all reds today as the ball getting played through the air. It's Gile taking it out for the Buckeyes. Still battling. Yes. Ball bouncing around. Long ball played down the near side of the field. Demian in a foot race with it. And it's going to be played back to Trejo, who drops one across the middle of the field. A dangerous ball, but Wooten is able to collect, and back the other way come the Buckeyes. Borkovic, the star freshman for the Buckeyes. And down the near side of the field, now here comes Indiana with the likes of Nate Ward. Sarver battling with Samways just outside the 18-yard box. Borkovic. Now Green losing possession for Ohio State. It was a sliding challenge. The ball is going to fizzle out on the far touchline for a goal kick.
Already some back and forth, a lot of headers being played as we talked about at the start. Back and forth game from both teams who look pretty even on paper when you take a look at things.
Trejo urging his guys up the field. Max Trejo, the redshirt freshman from Mexico City, got the start last game after Keegan McLaughlin was unavailable to go. He let 3 goals in against Akron, what is one of the best offensive teams in the entire country. So it was a promising start in a 3-3 tie for Trejo and the Buckeyes, who stay undefeated on the season so far. Caleb, look to continue that today.
Yeah, best start in program history, and it was incredible to see how long this has been going on, potentially into today, or potentially outside of today, I should say. You couldn't ask for a better start if you're Mazanov's crew with Ohio State, especially with all the freshmen coming in, too.
A lot of good young talent on the field, and they have proven themselves so far this year as the Hoosiers have a sustained attack going. It's Beebe, the defenseman, dropping it back to Mayer.
Of course, you wondered how the loss of Channing Chasen last season would affect them, now going into Phoenix Rising. But it doesn't look like, and no offense to him and his talent, but it does not look like the Buckeyes have had a drop in talent since then, and that's a big testament to what their recruiting looks like, both in the transfer portal and in the recruiting side of things with freshmen.
Coach Brian Maisonov did say coming into this season that he believes this is his most complete team he's had during his 5-year span here at Ohio State as the Hoosiers work the far side of the field and cut out that time by Dalen Velios for a throw-in. But a lot of promise, a lot of good looks so far in the non-conference slate for this Buckeyes squad. We'll see if, again, as we move, Caleb, like you said, into the tough competition that is the Big Ten Conference, we'll see if that good play continues.
And again, there have been some good opponents that Ohio State has taken on. My primary one, due to recency bias, I'm thinking Akron here with that 3-3 tie that the Buckeyes had in their last outing.
Gumbale tried to cross it that time. It was dealt with well by the Buckeyes defender over there. It was Dalen Velios. Another deep throw-in coming for the Hoosiers here early in this one.
Finishing that thought, though, this is really when you start to pick it up talent-wise. The Big Ten going into a Power 5 conference, this is where it really starts to tick up in terms of the season challenges.
It's a throw-in and a deep one at that into the 6-yard box. It's flicked on goal that time by a Hoosier attacker. Jansen Miller got the chance, and it's going to be a Trejo goal kick on the reset. Trejo boots it high and deep. Wooten corrals it, and he will drop it long back there for Trejo. It was a bit of a dangerous pass, but Trejo did well to one-touch it and clear it. It's a battle on the far side by Grinstead for the Buckeyes. Loses control, and Ohio State will win the throw-in.
That was inviting trouble to play it back to Trejo, and you know, redshirt freshman, he's a good guy, but coming in with very little college experience, you got to hope he makes that play, but he won't always.
Long ball down the far side of the field. It's Green, the midfielder, the senior from New Zealand. Ohio State unable to stay in control, but now Wooten on the ball with a good first touch. Wooten on the run, and the attack will fizzle out the left side of the goalie box. Goal kick coming for J.T. Harms.
Wooten had a scary-looking spill in that Wright State game the last time the Buckeyes were at home, Butler. But that was a just strange game overall. I'm sure you saw the rain from that, too. That flooded the field. Turned it into the Florida Everglades right here in Columbus. But good to see him up and playing. Ohio State's going to want him in full force this season.
And a long boot away from Harms. It's a shove in the back by Gumbale, and it will be called as such. Ohio State free kick just shy of midfield.
And the Oscar goes to, I think there was a bit of acting involved in that one.
A little bit. Ball in the air, drawing the contact. Got to make sure the referee sees it, Caleb.
Oh, sure. It's just like highlighting a word on a page, right? It's there. You just have to make sure you see it.
And a long lofted free kick, trying to find Devin Etling. Boy, Devin Etling, you want to talk about a spark when a team has needed it. It was a game against Butler, but now it's a long run for number 10, Tommy Mahalik, and a beautiful play by Trejo to make a sliding stop outside the box. And he made himself big that time. Borkovich now trying to end the danger for Ohio State on the near side.
Yet another risky move from Trejo there to go up and play. Only one man to beat for the Hoosiers, and it was Trejo. That would have been wide open if he misses that slide.
And Tommy Mahalik did have a good look. It almost seemed as though after the opportunity fizzled out, he kind of turned and looked at the referee as if to say Max Trejo was playing the ball outside of his box with his hands, but I believe it was a good slide that time by Trejo. Very risky play, you're right, Caleb. And the Buckeyes, without Keegan McLaughlin, this is going to be an interesting test for them. Another high-caliber team they're going to have to face without their goalie, who let just one goal in through the first 5 games of the season. Chopped forward to Etling. Etling trying to corral it. The big offensive spark from Ashland, Ohio. Gile. Velios.
You know, we've talked a lot about Ohio State so far through this. a fun little connection that they have. You look back to the other kind of football, the American football that takes place over at Ohio Stadium just a few miles down the road from here, if at all a mile down the road from here. And you look at the first week against Notre Dame when Marcus Freeman, a former linebacker for Ohio State, head coaching Notre Dame. You look at Brian Masonoff, who played soccer for Indiana, now coaching against his former team. A little bit of a parallel there between the two leaders.
Absolutely, Caleb. He not only played for them, won the Hernan Trophy in the mid-90s for the Hoosiers. He also was the assistant coach on their 2012 national title team as well before coming to Columbus. So a lot of, you could say, family ties here. As a left-footed cross across the face of goal, it was Wooten flailing at it, and he was unable to corral it on goal. Samways on the redirect, and the ball will spray wide of the goal box. A leaping Owen Sullivan chests it to Gile. Gile Samways at the Big Ten logo now. And that is going to be a foul. No call there. Interesting no call. The assistant referee was right there. It was Gile cutting across towards the sideline. He goes down hard, takes a spill. I think all of the Ohio State players wanted a foul, including Coach Brian Masonoff. None was called, and it's going to be an Indiana throw-in.
But going back to that header from Wooten, you know he wanted that, and we'll give him an A for effort, but we'll reserve the plus for when he actually nets one.
And he does often. We're talking about a man that is back-to-back all Big Ten conference teams. He was an all Big Ten freshman his freshman campaign, and here's Borkovich, speaking of freshmen, speaking of star freshmen, making a run that time, but to no avail for Ohio State. Indiana, 10 minutes into this one, will have a goal kick. So a beautiful day for soccer here, Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium. Fans here for Alumni Day, a lot of old players and coaches as well. It's nice to see some familiar faces, some Ohio State soccer legends in attendance. Gumbale goes down hard, far side of the field. Again, a no call. It's going to be throw-in Hoosiers.
Speaking back to some of those shared connections that the Indiana Hoosiers and the Ohio State Buckeyes have, 3 Indiana Hoosiers players are from the great state of Ohio, representing Columbus, Cincinnati, and Chesterland in Ohio. All 3 of them playing with the Columbus Crew in their junior program.
You have the best tidbits, Caleb, and that was a good one.
Call me a gold miner. I love finding the nuggets.
Bellios swats it clear. Indiana's still in control, though. It's been a very neutral start to this game. Teams feeling each other out. Green in pursuit for the Buckeyes. Down the far side, Sarver chasing for Indiana, but it's going to be another goal kick coming for Max Trejo, the redshirt freshman.
Trejo lucky he didn't have to make a risky play to get this one.
It's interesting. Whenever you have a young goalie like Trejo coming in to fill the shoes of such an experienced veteran like McLaughlin, you don't want to put too much pressure on them. You don't want to dictate too much how they play. They're still their own individual player, but it is a very fine line to walk in terms of how long of a leash he has to make his own decisions, to make his own plays coming out of the box, as we saw just a few minutes ago, Caleb, and it will certainly be a storyline throughout the rest of this game.
And some of that's trust with the coaches, but the other part of that is the scheme. You know, maybe Ohio State or Indiana, for that matter, they put in something where if it's coming at you from here to this spot, then this is how you play it, this is when we throw it, this is when we punt it. Some of that comes into play in terms of making the decision, and it's just about reaffirming that in your goalie's mind to make sure that that becomes second nature.
And it was an attempted flick on that time by Nate Ward. Trejo will walk it out here. It's just interesting seeing a guy's skill set for the first time. Really, this is the first good look at home we've had Max Trejo this entire time he's been in Columbus. It's been a short time, but it's always good to see a good young player take the field. That was sort of a wobbly kick there. It's corralled by Devin Ettling. And Indiana once again able to avert danger. Samways on the near side.
You know, he was going to have to make his debut at some point. Might as well have it be against the 15th ranked team in the nation. Just to really give a baptism by fire.
Absolutely.
And Indiana has earned every bit of that ranking, by the way.
Absolutely. They have played some tough tests, as have the Buckeyes. That was Quentin Helmer, the midfielder that went down for Indiana that time. Talking about the Hoosiers, though, only loss of the season was their first game of the season against Clemson, who was the preseason #1 overall team in the country, so not certainly a bad loss there. They did have an unusual tie at home against Portland in the second game of the year, 3-3, but since then they've been perfect on a 3-game win streak coming into today. Near side of the field, it's the Indiana Hoosier attack. Nate Ward building now. Ward playing it across to Sessick. Sessick chips it in. It's a threatening ball in the middle of the box. And Sarver could not corral it in time. It's going to be an offsides call. Step ahead of where he needed to be, and it's going to be another Trejo goal kick. You can see right there, offsides, and I believe a handball as well.
Double whammy on the violations there, but that was easily the best look that we've seen all game from either squad.
So here's Trejo to kick it away. I believe it was both an offsides and a handball. Of course, the offsides negates the handball because the play never happened. Sullivan battling again with Sarver, who's been very, very active for this Hoosiers squad to start. And another throw in here. Samways to take it.
And it looks like they call the offsides on Gile.
Samways. Flicked on by Borkovic. Green in pursuit. Jansen Miller chopping the ball away. Gile, a 6-6 connection right there. Devin Etling. Elios on the far side. Gumbali. In defense, Wooten crosses it, trying to find Xavier Green, and the ball flicks out wide. Samway's still on it. He'll send a right-footed cross in, and a leaping Devin Etling could not connect with it. He is money on those balls in the air usually, but not that time. Sullivan now trying to track back in defense. He's battling on the near side of the field with Sarver. Physical contact right there. And now Tommy Mahalik will send a ball into the far right corner of the field, looking for Gumbale. It fizzles out. Throw in Ohio State.
Welcome to Big Ten soccer. If that gets called in if that happens in any of the other non-conference games, I'm not entirely sure it would go uncalled. But here in the Big Ten, when things especially matter, like I said, in terms of the postseason and in terms of the caliber of play, they're going to let that roll.
Physical soccer has been a namesake for this Ohio State team so far this season. They have drawn a ton of fouls overall. Top 10 in the country in terms of fouls drawn. And now on the far side of the field, Borkovic flicks it forward. Borkovic, the freshman from England, and he does well that time on the far side of the field to draw a throw-in deep in Hoosier territory. It's going to be Velios trotting up to take it as the Buckeyes fill the offensive zone. And it is a slow trot at that, Caleb. You can just now see Velios coming into the top of your screen.
Certainly eating up some clock here on this first period.
Quick throw in, goes near side, back to Velios right away. He sends it to his Canadian national team teammate and fellow man from Vancouver, British Columbia, Nathan Demian on the far side of the field. Grinstead now. Attempted through ball is going to be cut out that time by Miller. Indiana trying to go the other way with it. It's Sessick on the far side of the field, and the Hoosiers have won a throw-in. Moving across midfield now and looking to generate some attack here. A pretty mundane start to this game, Caleb, about 18 minutes in.
Yeah, a few challenges here and there, but nothing really sustained for either team. And certainly no goals through now. Kind of a feeling out period, if you will.
Trejo with the left foot, clears it, looking to find Gile. It instead hits the feet of Xavier Green, and now here comes Grinstead the other way. Ohio State pushing the ball forward quickly now. Through the middle of the field, it's Green. Green, lofted pass to Samways, just outside the 18-yard box. Samways chips it off his defender. Good defense that time by Joey Mayer. Now Gile trying to thread one through it. It is again cut out by the defense of Indiana. Sarver sends one up the field to an on-running Nick Ward, who can't corral it. And Trejo now will take his time on the reset.
Might as well just burn it down, wait until you get set. No reason to force that from Trejo, and that's exactly what he did.
Sullivan, the man from Dublin, Ohio. A lot of local talent on display for this Ohio State team. 17 players are from the state of Ohio, a lot of them being from the Columbus area, as Gile here, not one of those said players. He's from Wuppertal, Germany. Samways, Borkovic, ball gets deflected, and it's a hard collision down there on the near side of the field. That is Tommy Mahalik that is down in some pain. It was a tough challenge both ways there. Gile took a hack at the ball, and Mahalik is down as we await to see if he will get some medical attention coming onto the field as the referee does stop play. And here comes potentially the training staff. They may hold off as he's slowly rising to his feet, collecting himself. It's good to see that he's getting up slowly, which is a good sight for Hoosiers fans, family, and friends in attendance for Tommy Mahalik. But it will be an Anthony Samways corner, Caleb, as we get reset here after the stoppage.
And these corners are extremely dangerous, especially when it's Ohio State receiving them. We've seen them net a few already through this season.
Samways, the right-footed cross, goes near post, and it's flicked away. Good defense as they push forward from the Indiana defense. Bellios at the midfield circle. He cuts inward to Grinstead now. Samways. Nice square ball to Green. Xavier Green cutting across the middle. Etling back to Green. Green, he's got a look, and the shot is on the goal line. Devin Etling says it's in, and the side official is also indicating that it is a goal.
Yeah, it should be. This looks like it crosses. Yeah, you see it. Has to go all the way into his goal to pull it out as JT Harms.
Yeah, now we're going to have a review, I believe, here, Caleb. They will take a look to ensure that this did, in fact, cross the line. It was a bit of a chaotic play. Interesting, the goalie, JT Harms, kind of dove on the ball. Usually you'll see goalies kind of, in reaction, just push the ball off the goal line there. He fully dove on it and may have carried it into the net, as we may get a look at a replay here coming up. Go on, Caleb.
When he gets up from that, you can clearly tell, like, he sits up. Watch his waist. So it comes off here. This is already a heck of a backspin on this. Ohio State lucks out here. But he dives in. To me, it's crossed right there. And then he just carries it further in with that momentum. And like you said, once he sits up here halfway through his waist, that ball is at least on the line, if not across it.
I 100% agree. I do believe it should be a goal for Ohio State. It is a goal for the Buckeyes, and it is going to be Xavier Green netting it home off a wicked deflection from the goalie for the Hoosiers, JT Harms. Devin Etling was there to point it out. He knew it crossed the line. Coach Mazanov will surely be happy to see that. And the Buckeyes here, in their first Big Ten Conference match, have taken an early 1-0 lead.
Well, that's momentum. Back in Akron, Xavier Green scored his first goal in 16 games with the Buckeyes. There's number 2 here in game 17, riding that scoring wave into this first Big Ten match of the year.
And as a person who called a lot of soccer games last season, the look of this team, as you mentioned, Caleb, is totally different. Look at this high pressure they're putting on the ball as Wooten is almost able to take over, but this team is playing with a good first step. Now it's going to be Indiana's turn to hopefully answer and get back into this game if you're the Hoosiers.
And it's chemistry, I think that's the biggest indicator, the biggest difference between last year. Not saying they weren't chemistry, they're not saying they didn't have chemistry last year, but you look at specifically that last scoring play, back and forth between Ettling and Green, and that really shows the communication. You have to be needling it through those defenders and getting it to it, and I think that's a big showcase of how connected this team is.
Xavier Green and Devin Ettling, two experienced players on this Ohio State squad. Again, talking to Brian Masonoff, that mix of young freshman talent combined with the veteran experience that you need to be successful is what has promoted this team to the success it's experienced this season so far. Samway's now near side of the field. Samway's looking for Ettling running across. It's Green that ends up getting a hold of it, and he's unable to put it on goal. Goal kick, Indiana. Besides the goal, though, Caleb, a pretty even game so far. Just one shot. That goes to Ohio State. One shot on goal, for that matter. Two fouls for Indiana, one for the Buckeyes, and just a lone corner for the Scarlet and Gray so far. As we are about 20 minutes into this one, a 1-0 Ohio State lead here on Big Ten Plus. Ettling battling that time with Jansen Miller, and Miller's going to get called for the push. Free kick, Ohio State.
And this is really a showcase of how locked these teams are in terms of how even they are, is how much action has been in between the 18s in that no man's land. Just back and forth, no team really maintaining sustained possession except for that last score from the Buckeyes.
Buckeyes switching the field to Sullivan here, who sends a long ball down the right side. It's Wooten. Beautiful first touch. Gile. Too much mustard on the through ball. Goal kick, Harms. And if you take a look at the Buckeyes' schedule coming up, Caleb, they travel to Cleveland State on Wednesday night. That will be the final game of their non-conference schedule, which, as you mentioned, has featured a lot of strong teams similar to Indiana. They've both played Akron, they've both played Butler, and there's been a lot more solid contests in there. Cal Poly, Wright State for the Buckeyes. They've taken care of business in all those games, shutouts in all those games as well.
And then you look at the game after that against number 8 Maryland on the road. You could not ask for a tougher challenge to open up your conference play than 15 Indiana and 8 Maryland in 3 weeks.
Sarver was in hot pursuit that time, and he forces the kick out of bounds. There's going to be multiple subs coming onto the field for Indiana. Herbert Endeley, Ryan Wittenbrink, and Ben Yeagley check in for the Hoosiers. And coming out of the game, it's going to be Sarver, Nate Ward, the forward, and one more for Coach Todd Yeagley and his Hoosier squad. Throw in near side just in front of the Ohio State bench for Brett Beebe. And he throws it right into the luscious mane of Owen Sullivan, the defender. Buckeyes take over and head the other way in possession.
Taking a look at the Ohio State bench, Luciano Pacoda ready to come in for the Buckeyes.
Star freshman hasn't cracked the box score as much as maybe other freshmen have for this team, but boy, what a playmaker Luciano is. And Coach Brian Masonoff loves the spark he provides this Buckeyes offense. Here comes Thomas Gile on the move. Gile rips a shot. It goes high and wide of Harms. Goal kick, Indiana.
Ohio State could have used a leg like that yesterday against Toledo. That looked more like a field goal than a shot attempt here.
See Xavier Green with the goal in the 19-minute mark. That is the deciding factor so far in this first half, as Harms boots it away down the near side. Will sail high of Ryan Wittenbrink, team leader in points so far this year for Indiana. And Samways will slowly reset with a throw-in here in front of the Ohio State coaching staff. Samways flicked on by Ettling and chopped clear by the Indiana defense in the middle of the field. It was Jansen Miller with the left foot, knocks it out of play. Another throw in deja vu all over again for the Buckeyes. It'll be Samways again to take it. It appears as though Thomas Gile has gone down here near the center of the field. He will get up and limp off. The Ohio State athletic training staff, on to take a look at him, Caleb. Did not see what happened there. He just kind of sat down, maybe a little bit of a cramp action as he comes out.
Certainly could be. It's a hot day. You're running all around. Maybe you just need some water.
And Pacoda comes in for him. As you mentioned, Caleb, he was primed to check in. He is in the game now as Grinstead overruns the on-running ball. Grinstead then makes contact with the Hoosier defender. That was Sessick over there. Pushes him down, and Indiana has won another free kick. A lot of stoppages so far, kind of like a ping-pong match, Caleb, back and forth. Neither team really getting a lot of fluid momentum through the midfield. So 19 and a half to go as clock continues to tick down here in this first half of action. 1-0 Ohio State here for Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium. Shot forward now. Gumbale slips. Sullivan takes over. With the left foot, he plays it forward. It's Borkovic shielding off the defender. And now here, Luciano Pacoda down the near side of the field. Big Ten logo. On-running ball to Borkovic. It was a lovely ball across. Grinstead was not there. Harms deals with it. And Indiana will try and maintain possession and counterattack going the other way. Good through ball that time. And it is going to be a foul. The referee did play advantage there. Couldn't see the Hoosier on the far side of the field that is currently down, but it's going to be a foul on the Buckeyes. Free kick, Indiana.
It was Tommy Mahalik once again. Went down holding that same leg.
The foul is given to Dalen Velios. Interesting. It looked as though the referee signaled for advantage there, but then he really didn't let advantage go on. As Indiana with the reset, and it's going to be a hard collision at the middle of the field. Luciano Pacoda went down hard there. He will draw the foul. Scary collision, but Pacoda seems to be all right. That's a good sign for the Buckeyes.
Walking, jogging, and now running on his own power. No need for the training staff for him.
Wooten, who returned to action last game against Akron after sitting out last Friday against Butler following his scary leg injury against Wright State a couple Monday nights ago. In the deluge, as you pointed out, Caleb, it was pouring all game, mostly in the second half, and the field, every time the players would kick it, it looked like it was a water fountain spurting up out of the ground. Unbelievable conditions out there. Again, Jesse Owens is a grass field, so players really were dealing it with that night. Perfect conditions out there today as Gumbale down the near side of the field tries to corral it, but Sullivan deals with it well, kicks it out of play. Throw in Indiana. And I believe actually that ball did catch the touch line, so they will call it a corner kick for the Hoosiers. Ryan Wittenbrink, team leader in points and goals, plays it short, back to Wittenbrink, sends it across the box. It's flicked on goal. And now Patrick McDonald trying to corral it. Pacoda instead takes over for Ohio State. He threads it through to Lawrence Wooten, who now crosses midfield on the near side. Wooten stops short, plays it off the on-running Hoosiers defender Patrick McDonald. It'll be out for a throw-in.
You saw Pacoda trailing, did a good job of staying near the action. Speaking of good jobs, Indiana keeping that away from the danger zone.
Samways will run up and take another corner kick here as the Indiana defense travels back into their own box. It will be the third corner of the game for Ohio State. Samways has taken all of them. He has been the main set-piece man so far this season, the sophomore from Loveland, Ohio. They've often looked for Wooten on that backside. Here's the right-footed cross in, and it's dealt with well inside the 6-yard box by the Indiana defense. Not out of trouble yet, though. Samways. Samways trying to slice up his defender. Samways gets it on the right foot. Ball takes a deflection and corrals into the top of the netting. Another corner kick, Ohio State.
Did we count that a shot on goal?
I think Samways wishes. Unfortunately not, though.
We could still put SOG in the box score. It's just shot over goal.
Maybe it's a half of a shot on goal.
You know what? If we start bringing percentages into this, I might give up. I can't do it.
It could get dicey. Grinstead to take this corner kick now. It's a lofted ball, back post, looking for Sullivan. He can't get his head on it. Wooten flicks it on. The ball's still bouncing around in that 18-yard box. Not a lot of urgency from the Indiana defense to get it clear, and the Buckeyes still find themselves in possession. Grinstead running right at his defender. Grinstead trying to corral it, but it's dealt with well that time by the Indiana defense. Now Gumbale on the near side of the field. Bellios receiving the ball back and switching sides for the Buckeyes. With a 1-0 lead. Looking for Samways. Does well to keep it in. Braden Durbin into the game for Ohio State. Getting an early touch. Wittenbrink. And Nathan Demian, the man from British Columbia, will pass it back to Max Trejo in the Buckeyes' net. Ohio State resetting through the far side of the field. Indiana in hot pursuit over there. And it's going to be Ohio State throw. Good job to win it that time by the Ohio State midfield. It was a good reset. And now coming into the game, it's going to be Tanner Creech, the freshman forward, taking out Marko Borkovic, who's had a productive start, as he has almost every game this season so far, Caleb. He subs out, Creech in, and the Buckeyes will have the ball off a throw-in.
Yeah, he's been a dynamic addition to this team so far through his time with the Buckeyes. She's going to take a little bit of a breather, get some water. No doubt we'll see him back out there sooner rather than later.
Green in hot pursuit down the far side of the field. He does well to win it. Xavier Green having himself a day so far through this first half of play. He's got the lone goal in the game. Came off a wicked deflection off of J.T. Harms. And that has been the difference maker so far. Pacoda, top of the 18. Wooten, right-footed ball in. Samways wide open backside, and it's a kick save and a beauty by J.T. Harms. Pacoda tried to come in and get the rebound opportunity. That ball's headed way back into the box. Off an Indiana head, so Harms can play it with his hands. He picks up, resets, recollects, and Indiana got lucky that time, Caleb, to get out of there without giving up a goal.
Great use of the foot there for Harms, right off his right toe, and not much else, just enough to deflect it away.
Reaction save that time by the man who made 4 the other night. And here, Endelay. Endelay into the Ohio State box. Endelay using his speed well. And Velios traps it right in front of Max Trejo. You got to wonder if Trejo maybe should have called him off there and gathered the ball himself. It was not the case. And Green chops it down the right side of the field.
Could have led to some serious miscommunication if that hadn't been called off, or if he had called it late. Another avoided disaster.
And Trejo has shown his youth a bit today. He's played solid, just as he did against Akron. But, again, that's kind of a situation you think that an experienced veteran goalie like Keegan McLaughlin maybe would display a bit better communication. The Buckeyes get out unscathed, though, and now trying to protect this lead with 11 minutes to go in the first half, as we're going to see Joachim Jansen coming into the game. Checking out, I believe, is going to be Parker Grinstead. And the Buckeyes, Coach Brian Mazanoff, making another sub here late in this first half. There is Coach Brian Mazanoff, 5th season as the Buckeyes head coach, off to an undefeated start this year, 21-41-7. Looking for a good start, a winning start to conference play for the first time in a long while here for the Scarlet and Gray men's soccer program. Certainly done well. He said again, the talent on this team is really immeasurable. They've got a good young core with good chemistry to boot. And he is excited, as all of Ohio State soccer fans are, about this season and how the team has started Indiana off to their usual successful start, 3-1-1, as we mentioned earlier, Caleb.
Not the best start in terms of record for Brian Mazanoff, but he has put up some great teams that continue to get better the longer he's here.
Gumbale. Yeagley. Gumbale on the right foot, takes a deflection off Nathan Demian, who briefly exchanged some words with Gumbale after that exchange. It's going to be an Indiana corner coming up. It looks like Patrick McDonald will be the midfielder over to take it, the sophomore, pointing out directions here as we dip under 10 minutes in the first half. Crowded box in front of Max Trejo. There's a lot of bodies in there. Left-footed ball to the near post. Trejo hanging onto his crossbar as he watches that one sail over top. As Brutus is making his way into the stands here at Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium. Good to see him out. He had a long night, late night at the football game, I heard. But his big nut head is kind of blocking our view right now, Caleb. Should we ask him to sit down?
Tell him to sit down.
And there he is.
Acknowledged us.
As back on the field, Indiana possessing through their back line. Brutus, popular man, getting a lot of pictures, even with our production team members. Wish I could take a picture right now. But here comes Lawrence Wooten across midfield the other way. He finds Pacoda. Pacoda gets shoved from behind. That was Mahalik, who was hot in pursuit, a little bit too hot that time. And free kick, Ohio State coming up.
Now Brutus has finally left our view. We can finally see past him onto the pitch.
He may have the world record for biggest nut size.
You know, depends on. I've never seen the measurements of how big that head is.
It's got to be a few feet.
It's got to weigh a lot.
Definitely bigger than the average Buckeye.
That's got to be, yeah. I think some mad scientists got their heads on an enlarging ray and just enlarged that way past normal size.
Way past normal size.
That would not hang on a tree.
He should probably get that checked out. Here's Pacoda running into the box. Pacoda just outside the 18-yard box. He plays a deep ball through the box. And now Gumbale on the other side, far side of the field, trying to run it out for the Hoosiers. Gets to midfield, and then the Buckeyes defense is quick to cut it out. Joachim Jansen now. Jansen looking to add some insurance for the Scarlet and Gray before halftime. What is no doubt the biggest game of the season so far. Like you mentioned, Caleb, they've played some good teams, the Buckeyes have. Both teams have in their non-conference slates, but when you get into Big Ten conference play, it just matters more. We're seeing it out on the field today. The Buckeyes off to a good start.
And to a large regard, that's in reference to opponents typically being of a higher caliber on the field. Again, as we've mentioned a few times during this broadcast, the postseason implications of what a conference record looks like and points in the conference records. This is really where the postseason is born in games like this.
And Creech with an opportunity just inside the 18-yard box. It was a good build-up through Luciano Pacoda and Lawrence Wooten, but Creech took a rip. It was well wide. And JT Harms will have it, and a quick kick gets play back underway. Here with 6 minutes to go, 1-0 here on Big Ten Plus. Andrew Conover alongside Caleb Spinner at Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium on a sunny Sunday here in Columbus. Mbale loses control. Chopped forward by the back line of Indiana. Now taking over in the middle of the field. Here come the Buckeyes. Braden Durbin, the midfielder. Wooten, such a versatile player. We've seen him all over the field today. His his main stomping ground, if you will, is in the middle of the field, but he is playing left wing right now for Coach Brian Mazonoff, so his versatility already in full force for Ohio State. Samways, bad pass. It's a good first step that time by Henderlong to take over, and here comes Indiana on the rush. And delay as Trejo boots it to the other side of the field for Dalen Velios.
Long first half, or at least it feels like it, with a few stoppages early in this game. We'll see what the second half turns out to be, but certainly a lot of offensive action hidden in those long pauses between the 18s.
So Lucas Hummel and Seth Stewart, a midfielder and defender respectively for the Hoosiers, checking in and coming out. Tommy Mahalik, probably the brightest spot so far for Todd Yeagley's side. He's been active up top, not producing anything in terms of box score yet, but as we see JT Harms play it, Indiana lacking offensively in this first half as a whole.
Gumbale also taking a seat on the bench as well.
Sullivan. Lofted ball trying to find Velios. Instead it's Jansen. Green. Jansen. Great touch. Pacoda. Pacoda almost had a goal. It was saved on the goal line by number 2, Joey Mayer. The junior defender, 6'2", from Caseyville, Illinois. Look at this opportunity by Pacoda. The head of Mayer is what saves the day for Indiana.
Wow. You could not have timed that better if you're the Hoosiers defense. Wow, Pacoda robbed twice today.
And now with 3.5 to go, after a good piece of counterattacking play for the Buckeyes, leads to an almost goal. It's going to be Samways to take it on the kick. Samways bends it in, back post, can't find a little player wearing a white shirt. The ball finds its way back to Samways, who flicks it in. Indiana doing well to build a wall in front of Harms in the net, and Velios will take it at half field. As with 3 minutes to go, the Buckeyes have a 1-0 lead here. Clock ticking down in this first half. Samways. Jansen in the corner now, battling with Wittenbrink. And Jansen wins another corner kick for Ohio State. This will be their 5th. I believe it's actually their 6th. That stat may be a little incorrect. Samways has taken, this will be his 5th corner, and then Parker Grinstead took 1 for Ohio State. So a lot of set-piece looks here, Caleb, early on in this first half. We'll see if the Buckeyes can bury it.
Yeah, they're setting them up.
Flicked to the back post. Sullivan in pursuit for the Buckeyes. Over there is Endelay for the Hoosiers, who heads it out of play. Buckeyes throw.
Finishing the thought, the Buckeyes are setting up themselves for a lot of offensive success, but the Hoosier defense has come to play, and they have not let those through.
Bend but don't break mentality thus far for Indiana. Velios throws it into the corner to Wooten. Wooten cuts baseline. Wooten chops it across to Pacoda. Pacoda just outside the 6-yard box trying to spin and runs into a wall of Indiana Hoosiers defenders. Velios across to Pacoda, and he scores off the volley. Luciano Pacoda, the fabulous freshman for Ohio State, has made it 2-0, much to the delight of the home faithful here at Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium.
The smooth criminal does some harm, knocking it past Harms. And finally, 3rd time's the charm for Pacoda. Robbed once, robbed twice, scores on the 3rd.
And he is showing love to the Scarlet and Gray supporters out here in Columbus today, who are getting treated to an offensive display from this Buckeyes squad. Despite only having 2 goals in this first half, Caleb, I think you just mentioned, they've been the better attacking side so far. They've generated a lot of good looks, and again, capitalizing there. 2-0 now, Ohio State, and what a huge goal that is with 1.5 minutes to go in the first half. Pacoda says, give me more. Pacoda gets taken down hard from behind. That will be a stoppage of play and almost certainly either a warning or a yellow card. Going to be assessed to number 8, Seth Stewart. Challenge from behind. And now the final warning for Seth Stewart, it appears, from the head referee. Samways will step up now as the clock has been stopped. And again, Brian Mazonoff, we saw this in the last home game. Referees usually only supposed to stop the game when they're going to award a card. It's college soccer traditional rules. Brian Mazonoff again asking for clarification as to why the clock has been stopped again, even though no card was assessed. So with 1:12 to go, Samways will take a free kick here. Another good offensive set-piece opportunity. Swings it into Sullivan, who heads it wide, and free kick coming for Indiana. Excuse me, a goal kick there, Caleb.
Final 60 of the first half, and this is one Ohio State wishes would continue to go on. Can we just skip the halftime if you're Brian Mazonoff?
Arms boots it away past midfield. Leaping bodies trying to corral it. 2 11s battling. It's Sessick and Green over there. Ball flicked on. Green still in pursuit. Boy, his first touch is quick and it's directional. And he's showing that today. Joachim Jansen, far side of the field. He will be happy to stay in possession here. Drops it back to Velios. Velios will take another drop to Demian. And with 10 seconds to go, the ball finds its way back to the top of the 18-yard box. Trejo boots it clear. And that will do it here for the first half of action from Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium. 2-0 Ohio State. Coach Brian Mazonoff and the Scarlet and Gray, Caleb, have got to be pleased with what they've seen through the first 45.
Absolutely. Xavier Green and Luciano Pacoda finding the back of the net. Ohio State playing incredible soccer through. Indiana's defense shining in a majority of spots through this game, but just a few times when they've let up has let this come out to a 2-0 game at the break.
We'll take a 15-minute break for the halftime as the respective sides go to the locker room here. It's 2-0, the 22nd Buckeyes up on the 15th-ranked Indiana Hoosiers here on Big Ten Plus. Welcome back inside Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium. We are about set for the second half of action here as the Buckeyes lead the Indiana Hoosiers in a top 25 battle 2-0 here. The Scarlet and Gray looking mighty impressive in that first half. Andrew Conover alongside Caleb Spinner as we are about to show you all the highlights of the first half of action as the teams are taking the field. Getting a little jiggy with it at midfield before taking their positions. And let's take a look at that first half of action here. The first goal, Caleb, for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, replay confirmed it. This one took a look. You see Etling never had a doubt about it being in here, and replay confirmed that. Just sliding in off momentum. And then here was Luciano Pacota's first time. We saw him go to that right leg earlier. We also saw him go and get headed away. But finally scoring in, again, third time's the charm for Pacota this game. 3 shots with a goal right there.
And on those volleys and half volleys, as you saw from Pacota right there, you really have to focus on where and how you're striking the ball. Pacota did a beautiful job keeping his toe down, and bearing it past harms in the Indiana net. So the Hoosiers will get the ball to start. It's going to be Mahalik kicking off as we are set for the second half of play here in Columbus. About 30 seconds left on the halftime clock.
And if you're Indiana, you just have to play your ball. You know, you come in 15th team in the nation for a reason. You got to go in, you got to disrupt Ohio State's rhythm.
Long ball is going to be flicked on to begin things here in the second half by Demian. And the captain for the Buckeyes, Wooten, distributes out. Mayer clearing things for the Hoosiers on the far side of the field. Throw in Ohio State coming up. It's going to be Samways. A shove in the back. Near side of the field. Here's Xavier Green for the Buckeyes just outside the 18-yard box. Now Velios, the defender, up near the 18-yard line, looking to push the issue for the Ohio State attack, and now sliding over. A beautiful recovery that time by Lawrence Wooten, sliding over to make the play. Not out of danger yet. Here comes Mahalik for the Hoosiers, and Sullivan does well to boot it clear the near side of the field. A throw-in coming up for Indiana. And Coach Todd Yeagley.
Indiana has to do a good job of not only getting a win on the scoreboard, but also getting a win in the stats column. They fell down 5-1 in the shots department, 4-0 in the shots on goal department as well, and then 5-2 they're down in corners. So they've got to start, in order to get a lead on the scoreboard, Andrew, I think they have to start getting the wins in the scoring columns as well.
Piling up the little victories.
Exactly. Get the momentum going. We saw how big it's been so far for the Buckeyes. Indiana just has to do the same.
Long ball looking for Wittenbrink that time is cut out, and here comes Devin Etling on the run the near side of the field. Devin Etling in hot pursuit. It's going to be a hard collision that time with Jansen Miller in the Hoosiers' 18-yard box. Etling goes down. The foul was called on him. And it's going to be a free kick coming the other way for the Hoosiers.
And I don't know if that's a foul. I think it looked from up here at least that the legs got tripped up. Potentially the grass got somehow involved in tying up a cleat, but that did not look like any intentional stopping or interference.
It looked like good physical play this time, and
that did.
Green running through the Indiana Hoosier defender that time. It was Gumbale, and that one is also called a foul, almost identical in location to the last one, and another reset for the Hoosiers.
Clear use of the arms for Gumbale. That's a foul every time.
Number 6, Jansen Miller. Little triangle game being played by the Hoosiers in their near corner. And now a long drop back to Trejo at the top of the 18-yard box for Ohio State. Long boot, and that one is going to fizzle out all the way at the other end of the field for a goal kick, Ohio State. Or excuse me, Indiana.
Let's touch back on what we did at the first half with the connection between these two teams. Of course, Ohio State's Brian Mazanov played at Indiana, but he also played with Todd Yeagley, head coach of Indiana as well.
And that was an errant pass right there. As we look at this coaching connection, Ohio State's going to have a near side throw, but yes, Ohio State Coach Brian Mazanov played alongside each other at Indiana with Todd Yeagley from 1991 to 1994, and he was part of the 2010 to 2017 Indiana men's soccer coaching staff, the team that went to the 2012 and won the 2012 College Cup. So a lot of coaching experience on this Hoosiers side, a lot of lessons talking to Coach Brian Mazanov in the lead up to this game. He's learned so much from this Hoosiers coaching staff, so certainly getting the better of them today, but he takes with them the lessons he learned in Bloomington throughout the rest of his coaching career. So a nice little tidbit, a nice little connection, and an added interest in this game today, Caleb. Off the reset. Umbale, near side of the field. On to Yeagley. Umbale back on the ball. Cutting into the 18-yard box, a right-footed ball driven across. Trejo this time with good communication to claim it in his 6-yard box, and he will reset for the Buckeyes.
Looks like he had to call it a few times to truly get his teammate to back off.
Trejo boots it with the right foot across the midfield line, and now in hot pursuit is Etling. Chest back that time. Good play by Jansen Miller, heads up defending to give his goalie a chance to claim it. Harms does just that, and Indiana will reset now. Just about 6 minutes into this second half of action. Demian with Sarver in hot pursuit. Wooten, lovely turn. Look at that, splitting two defenders beautifully with the back heel. He tries to find Green on running through the middle of the pitch. Unable to do so, and Harms will redistribute. Mayer. Yeagley. Mbale. Star player for this Hoosier side, Ryan Wittenbrink, loses control. Out of bounds for an Indiana throw.
This is some solid, sustained possession time for Indiana. Slowly fighting into that possession clock on the score chart. Trying to command this offense.
Far side of the field now, the Buckeyes working the ball. Chipped across. It's a battle for it. Gumbale near side for Indiana. Parker Grinstead in there for the Scarlet and Gray. Ball is dropped back now to Miller. And far side of the field, Sarver has it for Coach Todd Yeagley's squad from Bloomington, Indiana. Coming in 15th ranked, 3-1-1 on the season. Their lone loss to Clemson, the overall #1 team nationally, and a 3-3 tie to Portland earlier in the season. Wooten takes advantage of a bad pass. Here comes Etling for the Buckeyes. In hot pursuit, it's a hard physical challenge. You could see the Hoosier, that was Yeagley, on the near side of the field went flying. It's going to be a foul called, an Etling free kick going the other way. Far side of the field now. And delay. Quick foul called there. And the ref says, not so fast. You have to go at my speed. So the play will reset through Endelay, who loses it, and it's going to be Buckeyes throw in. Well, this certainly, Caleb, has not been a series historically that the Buckeyes have loved in terms of their results. Ball being dropped back to Trejo here. It has been one-sided, to say the least. Indiana leading 57-6 and 4 in the all-time series. The Hoosiers won last year's meeting 3-0. That was part of a 4-game slide in the middle of October for the Buckeyes, in which they did not score a goal in Big Ten play. So it was 4 shutout losses in a row for Coach Brian Mazonov's squad, and certainly this is their best result in recent memory against this Hoosiers squad, who now have a free kick on the near side of the field. Left-footed ball in. It's flicked away that time by Sullivan. Not out of trouble yet. Sarver boots it in. High lofted left-footed ball. And I believe offsides is going to be the whistle that time on Indiana. Not sure who it was trotting on the near side of the field. It looks like Jansen Miller was the culprit. Free kick Trejo coming up.
And 2 Buckeyes in that same area. Ohio State's done a good job defensively getting to the area of focus and putting not only a single defender on it, but in some cases multiple.
High ball challenged, and here comes Grinstead on the run for Ohio State. Grinstead finds Etling cutting inside. Etling never afraid to rip a shot, and that one is well wide of the net. Coach Brian Mazanov likes the effort. A little bit frustrated maybe that one was not more on frame, but a good build-up that time by the Buckeyes offense.
Cares more about his goals in the box score than his shot percentage.
Absolutely. Sullivan, long drop to Trejo, who comes forward, boots it high down the right side of the field. Mayer tries to corral it over there. Sarver flicking it on now. The ball bouncing around. Buckeyes will corral it now. It's the captain, Wooten. 3-time back-to-back-to-back Big Ten Player of the Year. Here comes Xavier Green. Green looking for his second, and once again, an Indiana defenseman is able to save the day. Backside, was that Jansen Miller or Joey Mayer? Did you see, Caleb, who was able to clear that one away? I guess we're going to get another look at it right here.
It looked like Miller.
Wow. Two very fortunate plays. Harms coming out once again, looking a little indecisive. And the Buckeyes, we saw the header in the first half that saved a goal from Luciano Pecota. That time there, it was Jansen Miller, the junior defender, saving the day for the Hoosiers.
And that's a shoulda, woulda, coulda goal. If only there were a bit more velocity put on it by Green, maybe that would have beat Miller to the line.
Harms punches it away beautifully with one hand. That's a very difficult play for a goalie, and Harms did well that time. Punch goes out of bounds. Far-sided throw-in for the Buckeyes coming up. So another good opportunity, but you can't really fault the Buckeyes for not capitalizing today. They are up 2-0. Taking over now is Sarver. Sarver with speed coming the other way. Good long touches. Sarver, Durbin sliding in there for Ohio State. Does well to cut out the counterattack. Hoosiers will have a throw-in. Sarver. Mayer. Yeagley. Tic-tac-toe passing here. Lawson Redmond. That one is a left-footed chip pass attempt by Patrick McDonald, the midfielder, that goes awry. And throw in Ohio State with 33 minutes to go in this second half of action. Buckeyes up 2. Here on Big Ten Plus, it looks like Marko Borkovic is going to be checking in momentarily for the Scarlet and Gray again. Pacoda on the far side of the field does well to win a good physical challenge. Throw in Ohio State, and the sub will come in.
Looks to be for Devin Etling. And indeed it is.
Devin Etling subbing out. Good offensive minutes, as always, for this Buckeyes team. Wasn't able to connect on any opportunities today. We also see on the Hoosiers sideline Seth Stewart, the midfielder, the freshman, getting loose. He was in earlier in the first half, and another Hoosier appears to about to be checking in. It looks like number 21, Jack Wagoner, may be coming into the game.
Etling, the redshirt senior.
As Borkovic cuts to his right foot. Borkovic, and a beautiful diving effort by Mayer. Another game-saving sliding challenge by this Indiana Hoosiers defense that Caleb has not played great today, but they're certainly doing enough to stay in this game.
Well, they played a lot better, I think it's safe to say, in the first half than the second. Taking another look at this, they've had some glimmers, especially inside the 18 here, but optimally, you don't let Ohio State get to inside the 18.
Giving up that good offensive position as a low-driven cross finds Samways at the top of the 18. Samways chops his feet, able to get a shot off. It's cleared away. And there was a whistle blown. It's going to be a foul on Ohio State. I believe an offsides is going to be the call, as the assistant referee is standing in line with about the 18-yard box. Quick reset for the Hoosiers.
Finishing that thought from earlier, though, Etling being a redshirt senior, he's one of those few leaders on this team who's not a freshman or a sophomore. Guy who's been here before, has a lot of experience under his belt, and is able to really hold this team together.
And we talked about the Buckeyes' main issue last year. Coach Brian Masonoff talked about it in the preseason, was their goal scoring and the finishing in the final third. Devin Etling was a guy for Ohio State last year that scored goals when they really needed them. So a credit to the redshirt senior, who also scored the insurance goal, you could say, against Wright State just a few nights ago. Winenbrink flicks it on, near side of the field. It's going to go out right in front of Gumbale, who will throw it in for the Hoosiers, as now Jack Wagoner comes into the game, and coming out of the game, Patrick McDonald, the midfielder. So a couple subs in for Indiana, looking to claw their way back into this one. Arms. Mayer will walk it up. Jansen Miller plays it across midfield. It's turned over. Velios with a good first step. All exchanging possession in the middle of the field. Once again, team's not able to hold on to it. Gumbale will drop it back to Harms with just under 30 to go now in this second half of play. Beautiful move that time by Endelay. Endelay can't sense the pressure coming, though. And now Green on the run. Counterattack. Potential for the Scarlet and Gray. It's Parker Grinstead trying to cross it with the left foot. He lofts one across and finds Pacoda far side of the box. Pacoda cuts in. And Ohio State still threatening here. Wooten and Pacoda working far side of the field.
Couple great looks just then, but IU's defense doing a good job to shut them down before they evolve into anything.
Speaking of shutting it down before it evolves into anything, good claim that time by Harms coming out of his box on the lofted pass attempt by Owen Sullivan. Near side of the field now. Going to have another sub coming on. It's Nate Ward checking back into the game for the Hoosiers. Checking out is Tommy Mahalik. And a throw-in comes from Gumbale to reset play. Now we have a foul on Wittenbrink. Velios drawing it just by that midfield line, near the touch line, and it's going to be Ohio State free kick going the other way. Nathan Demian in no rush to take this one.
Well, neither than he should be. I mean, you've got the lead against the number 15 team. The more clock you can burn off without giving them a chance to score, the better.
Checking the ball well that time is Wooten to receive it. Good one-touch passing from the Buckeyes. Velios in hot pursuit. Now Wittenbrink. Gumbale chopping it clear. Demian with a hard header that time. He went airborne. Did well with it. Now far side of the field, it's Lawson Redmond. Now in pursuit, it's Green. Green took over just outside the 18-yard box off a careless turnover from Jansen Miller. Was unable to get a good enough touch on it to secure it. And J.T. Harns thanked his lucky stars that time that ball found its way into his gloves. Dangerous drop that time from Wooten back to Sullivan, but Sullivan smoothly deals with it. He's on the near side of the field, and he will loft it clear. Out of bounds outside of the Ohio State bench in front of Xavier Green, and it's going to be an Indiana throw-in.
The consistent pressure of Ohio State to really put on this Indiana team and really force them to play out of the back. And a lot of that is done.
So Brett Beebe coming back into the game for the Hoosiers as well. You can see him in the middle of your screen right there as Borkovich wins the throw-in, and now it's Luciano Pacoda. A lot of freshman talent out there on the field right now for Ohio State. Anthony Samways, the sophomore, on the far side. Samways dicing up his defender. Right-footed ball in is deflected out of bounds. Corner kick, Ohio State.
That's one of those shots from our angle that looks better than it ends up being. Looked like it was going to take a backspin and curve in, but instead it's way off, not even on the correct side of the crossbar.
Grinstead trotting over to take it. This will be the 8th corner of the game for the Buckeyes coming up. As good as they played offensively today, Caleb, you know that Coach Brian Maisenoff would love to see a set-piece goal here. Ball lofted deep into the 6-yard box, claimed well by J.T. Harms, who will reset it for the Hoosiers. Throw in short to Redmond, who walks it out. Ball finding the feet of the Buckeyes defense. They chop it free and clear, but right back to Indiana.
Indiana now, you're starting to see the shift into desperation mode, trying to get something going. They're not out of time yet. Still 25 minutes is a long time, but they've got to kick it up.
Endele to Gumbale. Near side of the field. That was Beebe getting a touch, one of his first of the day. Now Lawson Redmond, the defender, creeping towards the 18-yard box. Gumbale near side of the field at the Big Ten logo. Gumbale cutting to his right. Gumbale drives one in with the right foot. It's dealt with well that time from the man from New Zealand, Xavier Green. It's going to be a corner kick, Hoosiers. Trotting over to take it now, Lawson Redmond. Redmond. Far side of the field now, the Hoosiers trying to mount an attack. Right-footed cross in, it's flicked on goal. Ball still loose in front of Trejo. It was Jansen Miller who was trying to corral it. Lawson Redmond was also in there for Indiana. Free kick upcoming though for Ohio State at the end of it all, Caleb.
Trejo thanking his lucky stars that didn't get through and his defense was able to step up. You could see he was wondering where on earth that was going to go, and those headers so unpredictable with the angle that they're going to come at you. Trejo, I think, lucky that his defense got to it before he had to.
Big boot off the right foot of Trejo, the redshirt freshman from Mexico City, Mexico, stepping in to fill that vital goalie spot for the Buckeyes with Keegan McLaughlin not playing in this game or the last one before that. Pacoda showing off his speed on the far side. Pacoda taking on 2 defenders. Pacoda almost getting around both of them. Wagner does well to cut it out on the far side for the Hoosiers. But Green still putting the Hoosier back line under pressure. And a through ball across the face of goal will end up finding only Hoosier feet. And they clear it forward. And now on the potential counterattack as Demian deals with it well for the Buckeyes. Trejo with the left foot quickly clears it. Back the other way come Ohio State. Foul is called. Buckeyes will get a free kick.
And take a look at the upcoming schedule here. We were talking about Cleveland State and then that Maryland game upcoming. We'll talk about it here at the break of action. I was queuing it in and then we started up to play, so I don't think our graphics team's going to like me too much if we were to play it right in the middle of action.
Sullivan with a beautiful sliding challenge near side of the field. It's going to be an open arm shove that time by Demian, resulting in a foul. If we look at the Buckeyes' schedule coming up, we did mention they travel to Cleveland State. That's their final non-conference game. Before Big Ten play starts, they'll travel to Maryland, who's ranked in the top 10 currently, take on Rutgers at home, and then Northern Kentucky for the Connor Sen Memorial match in early October. So hopefully if you can, come on out to Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium. It'll be a great couple of contests, a very loaded Big Ten schedule going forward. And for the Hoosiers the other way, as we look at Gumbale crossing one in front, Sullivan almost fumbling it there in the 6-yard box, but Borkovich retreats back now for the Buckeyes to try and clear it. Indiana, again, entering Big Ten play as well. No easy slate this conference. Every team is going to be a challenge night in and night out. Seems to be the case for almost every sport in this league.
And you didn't ask, but I'll tell you, the game that I'm most looking forward to is that October 30th matchup at Wisconsin. October, it gets chilly in Ohio, even more so in Wisconsin. That's going to be a cold one.
Absolutely. As you can see here, Michigan State and Northwestern is going to round out the Hoosiers' September schedule. Those are 2 back-to-back home matches. They'll travel to Michigan and then Notre Dame, the only game that is not a conference game in their upcoming schedule. They'll finish against Evanston and Treen as well. But the Hoosiers definitely have a tough road ahead, as do the Buckeyes here as they get into the meat of Big Ten conference play.
Almost all of those games for Indiana on Big Ten Plus as well. We'll have coverage of all of those.
And the only game that is not going to be on Big Ten Plus is the upcoming game against Cleveland State for the Buckeyes. Every other game will be right here on your home for Big Ten Sports. As the ball has ran out of play once again, we're going to get another corner kick. This is going to be the 14th corner of the game for both sides combined. It's going to be Wittenbrink, the leading goal scorer and point getter so far for Indiana this season, to take it as we dip under 20 minutes to go in the second half. Wittenbrink sends it in. It's punched away well by Trejo. Trejo, long lofted ball in. He's got strong hands on it. Trejo gets hit, goes down hard. The ball will run out of play. Goal kick, Ohio State. Good work that time by the young freshman goalie Max Trejo to stay strong in his own box.
He has gotten more and more confident, more and more sure of himself as we've gone through this game. Started off with a few nervous calls on some risky plays inside, and then, of course, now, as you just saw that play there, showing more and more confidence as we've gone through these 90 minutes.
Trejo in no rush once again to reset this ball. Lofted over midfield, and here comes the Hoosier attack quickly now. Quickly, here comes the Hoosier attack. It's in on goal, and it's going to be a goal. Number 17, Herbert Endeley, out of nowhere, seemingly thin air, Caleb. Endeley gets a hold of the ball, runs through the midfield. There was nobody back for the Buckeyes defense, and he's able to slot it home.
Trejo comes up and plays that. Hindsight is always 20/20, but not sure that was the best decision to come so far up to play it.
And this goal, that goal I should say, has shocked The crowd here at Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium kind of stunned us too, Caleb. Came out of nowhere. Endeley all of a sudden, with the ball on his foot, is able to create a magical scoring chance that leads to a goal for the Hoosiers. The Buckeyes now trying to respond. It all of a sudden is a one-goal game here with 18 minutes to go in the second. Pacoda flicks one across. It's headed on goal. And Joachim Jansen with the left foot could not get that to steer on target. Goal kick quickly coming here for Indiana. How the tables have turned, Caleb, with time ticking away in this second half.
That was good placement by Pacoda. Then a little bit too much on the follow. Send it over.
Herbert Endeley, the goal scorer for the Hoosiers, as Sullivan boots it clear to make this a one-goal game. Xavier Green, quick on his feet, good first touch, cutting into the middle of the field. Green is taken down hard, does a somersault over the on-looking defender that time for Indiana. I believe that was Jansen Miller. And JT Harms will push his troops up the field with 17 to go. Down a goal here in Columbus.
Xavier Green trying out for the gymnastics team. I think he was running over there. He saw the Cavelli Center, which is right across the way. I think he tried to try out for the team right there.
Got a little bit of inspiration seeing the beautiful Cavelli Center.
Trying to recreate the legendary Blaine Wilson from Ohio State.
Joachim Jansen doing well. Drawing the foul that time. And there is the goal scorer, Herbert Endeley, in the 71st minute. What could be a huge goal down the stretch, not only this game, but this season for the Indiana Hoosiers. As you mentioned, Caleb, every point matters in league play. They do not want to start out down in a hole with one loss. Jansen trying to find an on-running Velios. He can't. Back the other way comes Indiana. Wagner.
Indiana's making sure to keep this an interesting game until the final whistle here. This has been the spark that we were talking about. We said that there was a lot of time left. I believe it was at the 28 mark, but we said that there was a lot of time left and they had to start picking it up. Well, here it is.
Henderlong trying to win it for the Hoosiers near side. Good pass that time by Wittenbrink. He'll take the throw in for Indiana. Check that. He's leaving it for Nick Sesic, who comes over, the defender. As the Hoosiers, the red shirts, fill the box here, trying to mount a late offensive push. Ball swung in that time by Beebe. Still loose, Pacoda back to clear it. And he does well. The forward that time, dropping all the way to the edge of the 18-yard box and chops it clear with the left foot. Indiana and Mayer will reset.
They found some momentum from Herbert Endeley, and his brilliance alone has held them now.
McDonald finding Jansen Miller. Walking it up. Green takes over, but then loses it. And now near side of the field, it's Sesic. Right-footed ball across. Never really challenged Trejo or any of the Buckeyes' defense there. And now far side of the field, well recovered that time. Pacoda on the ball. It's Green touching it forward as well. Excuse me, not Green. That's Parker Grinstead. Chipping it clear to Joachim Jansen. 14.5 to go. Second half of play. 2-1 Buckeyes here on Big Ten Plus. Wittenbrink. Teams, it feels like, starting to take a little less risks, a little less long balls through the air. Playing possession through the midfield. It's a sliding challenge from behind. On behalf of Xavier Green, the referee kind of casually just blows play dead and gives Indiana the free kick they deserve after that challenge.
Back transfer to their own end for Indiana, and you're really starting to see them work both sides of the field. If one's not going on the near side, they won't force it. They'll send it back over and work that far side instead.
This could be trouble for the Indiana defense as the Buckeyes are getting men forward. It's Pacoda finding Borkovich. Borkovich edge of the 18-yard box now. Trying to cut inside, spinning. Green, left-footed shot, and it's high and wide of JT Harms in the Indiana net. Good opportunity, good build-up that time by the Buckeyes offense. Unable to capitalize, and it's going to be Devin Etling. Caleb checking back into the game for Marko Borkovic.
Got excited about how open he was at that shot and just put a little bit too much sauce on the hot dog. Goes up wide and out.
We're all prone to doing that sometimes, a little too much sauce on the hot dog. Now, what is your sauce choice?
Shows how little you know me, Andrew. I don't put anything on my hot dog.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't put milk in my cereal.
You should be banned from eating hot dogs.
You know what? I've been called un-American before, and I think it fits.
I'm a big ketchup guy myself, as Xavier Green now looking to get some sauce for himself. Pacoda, edge of the 18-yard box. Wittenbrink will take over. And now with Caleb just about 12 and a half to go, you are entering the period of the game where if you're Indiana, you have got to start moving all numbers past midfield and truly build your attack through the entire team. You're going to see JT Harms playing well outside his goal box now as well to field any balls that come back.
If you want any chance to win this, if you're Indiana, much less tie it up, or if you want any chance to tie it up, much less win this, out of these next 12-ish minutes, you have to spend 10 in the Ohio State zone.
Endelay had a good shot. It's Wittenbrink on the far side, and a beautiful save that time by Demian on the goal line for Ohio State. What a play by the man, casually it seemed like, from Vancouver, British Columbia, dealing with what could have been the game-tying goal that time, and a beautiful defensive effort from the Scarlet and Gray. Look at this.
Well, he's practically an assistant keeper here. Trejo out of place because he's going after that on his left side. His right's completely exposed. It's a brilliant shot, but Demian's there to knock it off.
And that hit looked like outside of his quad, and it was a good reaction. Leg save that time by the sophomore defender for Ohio State. Preseason Big Ten player to watch, and he has certainly lived up to that this season. Now the other way, Xavier Green with pace. Green and Jansen on running the near side of the field. And Jansen trips up over his own feet. And it is going to go out of play. Indiana throw-in coming. Just under 11 to go. 2-1. The 4-0-2 Ohio State Buckeyes coming in ranked 22nd in the country are currently up on Indiana. Near side of the field, it's Sessick. Sessick, right-footed cross into the box. It's Winterbrink almost flicking it on. Trejo diving in the Buckeyes net that time, made a leap to his right. And the ball ended up going well clear of his net, but it was a good reaction that time by the young goalie. Good offensive buildup that time for Indiana, just couldn't capitalize.
Yeah, not a bad look, and a good angle coming up that near side. Trejo made the right play to dive at least for it, even though it was clearly going wide. But again, you're starting to see the confidence come up for the redshirt freshman here, Max Trejo.
Ball in the middle of the field, Wooten corralling it. Wooten now making his presence known, shielding off the near side Indiana defender, and the ball goes out of play. Good job that time by Jansen Miller, the 6'2 junior defender, pinching over from Baldwin, Missouri, and he's done well to win Indiana a throw. It goes back to JT Harms. Back to Jansen Miller. Nick Sessick walking it up. Drives a ball into the 18-yard box. Trejo patiently waiting for it. It's going to be Sarver. Sarver feeding it across, and there was no Hoosier there to take on the connecting pass, and the Buckeyes avert danger, luckily, once again. Far side of the field now. It's Gumbali. And delay. Patrick McDonald finding Sessons, and a really good save that time. A diving Max Trejo to his left is able to corral it, not only making the stop but holding on to the ball as well, as you see Sessick take a rip right here. And a beautiful diving stop. Buckeye went down right in front of goal there that time, Caleb. I believe that's Nathan Demian. Down on the field, still down.
Official holding off the training staff, but both teams headed to their sidelines respectively for a water break. Trejo serving as an athletic trainer, stretching out the foot.
I was about to say, he's playing two roles today, not only goalie, but also athletic trainer, as he will trot to the bench. Demian will walk off the field, grab his water bottle, and play will be stopped here as the team's heading to the bench to take a water break given the injury. And play will reset with 8.5 to go in this second half of action, in what would be a massive victory for the Scarlet and Gray to get to 5-0-2, not only, Caleb, but also beat one of their bitter conference rivals in Indiana, the first game of conference play this year.
And still hold off that first loss of the season. Be an incredible 3 rewards for a victory here today.
The Buckeyes are off to their best start currently since 2001. They were 6-0-1 to begin that season, so that's an excellent mark to be at, but they're almost there again this season. Again, undefeated through their first 6. More than 2 decades of Ohio State soccer has gone by since the last time you could say that phrase about the Buckeyes. Etling just across midfield. Dowling getting his first action of the day. It's Velios. Chris Dowling, another guy for the Buckeyes, didn't get a lot of playing time last season, but he's been instrumental this season, coming off the bench especially as a veteran attacker. He has it in front of the Ohio State bench, gives to Green. Velios, errant touch, and Wittenbrink will take over for the Hoosiers. What could be one of the final pushes of this game for the Indiana offense, Caleb?
It is officially make it or break it time for Indiana. You've got to make your push right now. You've got to get back across that midfield line as they just did there, and you have to stay in your attacking zone.
Tic-tac-toe passing going on the far side for Indiana. It's Mayer lofting one forward. Too hot for the outstretched leg of the on-running Indiana attacker, Nate Ward. And Ohio State will throw it in with Samways flicked on by Etling now across midfield. Number 6, Jansen Miller, who's been active today on that back line for Indiana, takes over. Far side of the field now, it's Gumbale. Near side once again, it's Miller. Miller trying to find Wittenbrink. He's shoved down. The ref says play on, no foul. And a long ball that time is sent deep into Indiana territory. Way out of his net is J.T. Harms to play it with his feet. He's got no pressure. As you can see now, Brian Mazanov is clearly employing sort of a park the bus strategy. He's got really all guys past midfield at this point. Xavier Green, the lone man in front of it. As the Buckeyes focus on defense with the final 6.5 coming up here in the second half. As we say that, though, Xavier Green on the counterattack. Green had a 1-on-2 opportunity, couldn't hold on to the ball, and Indiana averts danger.
Would have been better if you had reinforcements to pick that up, but if you're Ohio State, you don't need another goal to get this win. And that's, I think, the meaning behind Brian Mazanov's strategy here is might as well keep everybody back on defense where we need to keep going than expend some people, risk some people, give up some holes on the defensive side to try to just get what would be a superficial goal.
Far side of the field, the ball has gone out. There's going to be a couple subs coming into the game. Luciano Pacoda checking in for Ohio State. He will come in for Chris Dowling. Number 7, Carson Hendrelong, and number 12, Quentin Helmer coming into the game for Indiana. It looks like Joey Mayer, the defenseman, is going to come off for Indiana. And a sub has walked off the far side of the field for Indiana. Not sure who is coming out. The second man out will be for the Hoosiers, as Xavier Green is taking a seat in the midfield circle. Not sure what's going on with him, but the athletic training staff is out to check on him with 5.5 to go here in the second half. And there is also another Buckeye down on the field getting stretched out. That's Dalen Velios still dealing with, it looks like, some leg issues, maybe some cramping going on over there. As Green walks off, getting some water.
The other Hoosier that came out, you mentioned, looks to be Ben Yeagley.
So Yeagley checks out. He played some significant minutes during this second half. Etling now for the Buckeyes receiving the throw, and it's Parker Grinstead. Grinstead cutting to his right. Grinstead across the face of goal. It's Pacoda leaving it for an on-running Tommaso Villa, who also must have just checked in the game. We must have missed it, Caleb. But, man, he got his feet caught up underneath him, or that would have been potentially goal number 3 for the Scarlet and Gray. Buckeyes sliding all over the field now. Some heinous challenges, and Dalen Velios is going to pay the price, getting the first yellow card of this game tonight. The Buckeyes defender will trot back, and Indiana now with 5 minutes to go has got to go, Caleb.
Yeah, they have to put the pedal to the metal, foot on the gas, and really start to crank this in. 5 minutes is not a lot of time when you look at how long it takes to score a goal.
I'm really confused why they still have 2 players behind the midfield line. They do play it short that time, and the ref blows play dead once again, stopping the clock as well. Don't think they were ready for the reset that time, but anyways, quick short pass again goes to Jansen Miller. Very confusing why Indiana is not pushing more players forward. And that time the long lofted ball draws a foul. Ohio State free kick going the other way. Trejo taking his time, under 5 minutes to go here at Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium. And he boots it clear.
Max Trejo has really come into his own, as we've said a couple times during this broadcast.
Here comes Etling, chopping his feet. Grinstead to Pacoda, and Pacoda couldn't beat the Indiana Hoosier defender to the ball. Buckeyes stay in possession, though. Near side, it's Pacoda again.
Ohio State showing we may be defensively focused, but if you give us a shot to score, we're not going to pass it up.
Grinstead, bending ball. It goes off the hands of J.T. Harms. In a rare moment, you don't see that oftentimes from collegiate goalkeepers. Just a bit of an error there. He's lucky that that ball was not in front of his goal, or else that would have been 3-1 Ohio State, but instead it's a corner for the Buckeyes.
He's lucky that shot wasn't further to his right, or he would have been. He would have let it through. Instead, it just squirts harmlessly past that left post from Harms' point of view.
And you're seeing now Pacoda check short to the ball here on the corner kick. And that is because Coach Brian Mazonoff sees an opportunity here to kill some possession. And once again, we're getting a stoppage of play here. The clock has stopped. I'm not sure the reasoning. But it will be Samways over there, lining up to take it, and he goes short to Pacoda. You'll see him bury this in the corner. Samways in no rush, chips it across to a wide open Lawrence Wooten. Oh my goodness. Endelay was on the goal line, and he threw his body at the ball. That is the 3rd time today we've seen an Indiana Hoosier take a surefire goal away from a Buckeyes offensive player. Wow.
And if Indiana weren't so good at defense as they are, this would be a 5-1 ball game.
Endelay not only scoring the lone goal so far for the Hoosiers, Wittenbrink playing it in, Trejo watching it go, and the ball fizzles out of play. What a series of events that time for the Hoosiers. It had J.T. Harms completely beat, as we see this shot from Wooten. Beautiful shot, perfect little half volley off the bouncing ball. Unbelievable save, as now the ball free in front of Trejo, and it's going to be called down. A foul coming to the Indiana Hoosiers. That's a big call if you're Coach Brian Mazonoff, as we're going to get a free kick, Ohio State at the 6-yard line. So taking a breath here in Columbus with Just about 2 minutes to go in what has turned into an excellent soccer game. Trejo boots it high and deep, and way out of the net is Harms to play it for Indiana. Trying to get the late equalizer here. It's Helmer. Far side of the field, Gumbale. Helmer. Endele, who's been very active today for the Hoosiers, scoring a goal and saving one as well just moments ago, if you're just tuning in, and it's going to be a foul picked up that time. On behalf of the Indiana Hoosiers, Lawrence Wooten draws the contact. Free kick, Buckeyes.
And I don't know if that's a penalty if it comes at a better time. That looked late, and I think that's why it came. It was clearly not expected. If they're playing that ball or if they've just come off and touched it and sent it away, I think that doesn't get called, but here we are.
Agreed, Caleb. And now, with 1:15 to go in the second half of play, the Buckeyes doing everything they can to hold on to this one. Indiana now trying to get one last push up the field. Far side, it's Nate Ward. You hear the PA announcer here at Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium announcing the 1 minute left to go. More truly 50 seconds now as the Buckeyes throw it in far side of the field. Etling flicking it on, ball bouncing around. Gumbale has it. Left-footed lofted ball. Wittenbrink. Pacoda. Bad drop pass, and Trejo alertly comes forward to clear it there. That won't go down as much, but it was a big defensive clearance that time by the Buckeyes goalie. Harms with 30 to go. Gumbale. Gonna have to loft everything through the air at this point and hope to get upfield as quickly as possible. Etling swats it deep into the Hoosiers' end. Harms out of his net. A big first touch with 10 to go. Harms, long lofted ball. It's up in the air. And Indiana with the final shot of the game. It won't matter. Coach Brian Mazanov and the Ohio State Buckeyes have pulled off another home upset. That's back-to-back home upsets against higher-ranked teams. The 22nd-ranked Scarlet and Gray take this one on Big Ten Plus 2-1, improving to 5-0-2 on the young season. Indiana falling to 3-2-1, and certainly, Caleb, one of the biggest wins in Coach Brian Mazanov's young Ohio State coaching career.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal team win. Got in Xavier Green and Luciano Pacoda scoring their second and first goal of the season, respectively. Really got a full team effort in there, multiple looks from different players. This was an all-around team win for Ohio State, and when you look at Indiana, several great looks on defense allowed Ohio State to get some really close shots, but then at the end of the day, you were able to deny them, especially tight on the goal line. So you can't come away feeling too bad about this if you're the Hoosiers. Just make sure you look at your offense rather than your defense, because the defense played great today.
And up next for the Hoosiers, they will travel back to Bloomington for 2 straight at home against Michigan State and Northwestern. As we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Ohio State will travel to Cleveland State to round out their non-conference schedule. So it's the Buckeyes getting a huge conference win to begin league play this season. It's a 2-1 final from Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium. Just some final totals for all of you. 14 shots swept the Buckeyes' way, 7 of which were on goal. Indiana had just 5 shots in the game, 3 of which were on goal. 2 saves were made by J.T. Harms, only 1 for Max Trejo, although he did step up and fill his role well today, commanding his 6-yard box. 14 fouls for Indiana, 13 for Ohio State, 9 corners for the Buckeyes to just 5 for the Hoosiers. So it's a 2-1 win, a big one at that for Ohio State. And for Andrew Conover and Caleb Spinner here on Big Ten Plus, we are signing out from Columbus. Have a great afternoon. We hope you enjoyed today's soccer contest.